Hi guys, hope you all are safe at home and studying hard. Let's see about trying incomplete denture. These are the contents, definition, purpose. Then before doing trying procedure into the patient's mouth, we always check it on an articulator. So trying on an articulator, followed by trying of mandibular denture first, then followed by trying of only maxillary denture, and then lastly trying of both maxillary and mandibular denture together. Definition as per GPT-9, trine is defined as the process of placing a trial denture in the patient's mouth for evaluation. It is also referred to as trial placement. But then what is trial denture? It is a preliminary arrangement of denture teeth that has been prepared for placement into the patient's mouth to evaluate aesthetics and maxillomandibular relationships. Now, purpose of trine. So basically why we do trine procedure is we check how much our work is satisfying and simulating the functional requirements of the patient, that is mastication, speech and aesthetics. So basically the teeth setting which we do should be nearly similar to that of the natural teeth, and arch position of each tooth should be similar to that of natural teeth. So that is what we need to check into the patient's mouth. So next, trying on an articulator. In that we need to evaluate the polished surface of the denture, which should be free of voids and should have properly extensions into the sulcus. Followed by evaluation of the impression surface. We need to check for the adaptation of the denture base. Many of the times when we use shellac, you would be remembering that shellac gets distorted and it does not gets properly adapted over the model. So that should not happen. The denture base should be properly adapted to the cast. So that is what we need to check in the evaluation of impression surface. And then lastly, evaluation of occlusal surface. The occlusal surface of the teeth should be free of wax and gingival margins should be carved properly. Coming on to evaluation of mandibular denture. Then mandibular denture, we need to check the peripheral extensions of the denture first. Among peripheral extensions, we have buccal and labial borders, lingual pouch, lingual frenum, posterior extension, and under extension. In case of buccal and labial borders, how we need to check is say similar movement we need to perform at the time of border molding, which we do. We need to move the cheeks and lips upwards and inwards. That is how we need to check the buccal and the labial borders. Then followed by lingual pouch. We need to ask the patient to protrude the tongue to moisten the lips. Thirdly, lingual frenum. We need to ask the patient to put the tip of the tongue at the back of the palate. Fourth, posterior extension. We need to check the extension of the denture onto the retromolar pad region. If the area is not covered by the denture base properly, or if it is overextended, both the cases may cause problems. If it is overextended, it is going to hit directly to the pterygomandibular raphe, and whereas if it is underextended, this would not provide proper peripheral seal to the denture. Lastly, under extension, there should be no presence of gap in between the denture and the tissue. So whatever point A is there, this A point is its way to check. So A, B, B, C, C, accordingly you guys read. Followed by stability. How we are supposed to check the stability of the denture base. We are supposed to apply pressure on the premolar and molar region of one side of the arch, and rise of the denture of the other side indicates instability. Now for an example, if you apply pressure on the premolars and molars of the right side, and if the denture of on the left side it gets lift up, so in that case your conclusion is the denture is unstable on the left side. Now on whichever side you apply the pressure, you check the stability of the opposite side. Clear? Next, tongue space. You ask the patient to raise the tongue after inserting the lower denture. In any of the case, if denture lifts up, in any of this movement while doing, if denture gets lifts up, this means that the respective area is overextended. Next, height of the occlusal plane. The lower occlusal plane should be slightly below the tongue for stability. Now just see the figures. First, for buccal and labial borders, you need to perform the movement of the lips and cheeks in upward and inward direction. To check the lingual pouch, you need to ask the patient to lift the tongue and moisten the upper lip. To check the labial frenum, you need to ask the patient to lift the tongue and touch it over the back of the palate. Fourth, you need to check the position of the tongue. You can see in the figure that tongue is supposed to rest over the occlusal surface of the teeth, and there should be always passive contact of the teeth with the tongue. The tongue should never be below the occlusal surface of the denture teeth. Just remember this. And this, you're checking the stability. In this case, the operator is applying pressure on the right premolar and molar region. Now after applying the pressure, if the denture over the left side lifts up, this means that this area is unstable. That is, left side of the denture is unstable. Coming on to evaluation of maxillary denture, again we have peripheral outline, that is buccal and labial border. Similar movement we are supposed to do, followed by distobuccal border. To check the distobuccal border, we ask patient to open the mouth wide. Next, how to check the posterior parietal seal, we all know during your clinics. Whenever you check the overextension of the posterior parietal seal area, what you do is you mark the PPS line with your hematoxylin pencil, and that marking you just transfer it over your denture base, and accordingly you just trim the denture base. Many of you would have done that during your postings. Coming on to checking of retention. Now how you check the retention in the different areas of the maxillary denture. Now first is anterior region. Now in anterior region, how you check the retention is you pull down the denture vertically by holding the denture in incisor region using your thumb and forefinger. Now thumb is over your labial border of the labial surface of the incisor, and forefinger is on the palatal surface of incisor, and holding the incisal tooth, you pull the denture vertically downwards. So this is how you check the retention in anterior region. Now how you are supposed to check the retention in maxillary tuberosity area? It is by applying the outward and upward force on the canine region. Third point is posterior palatal seal area. In this case, how you are supposed to check is you are supposed to put your forefinger on the palatal surface of the upper anterior teeth, and an outward force is applied. In any of these cases, the denture doesn't get pulled easily. If it doesn't get pulled easily, this means that the denture is retentive. Third point, stability is similar to that of the mandibular denture, applying pressure on premolar and molar region on one side of the arch, and if there is rise of the denture on the other side, this indicates instability of the other side of the denture. Now looking at the figure, first figure we can see, second figure we can see again the finger positions. First figure we are checking out the buccal and labial borders and anterior retentiveness. In this case, there is index finger and thumb and the index finger placed over the anterior teeth, and retention is being checked. Whereas in the posterior palatal seal area, we need to place the forefinger on the palatal surface of the incisor, and then we are supposed to apply the outward force over the denture. And the third one, maxillary tuberosity and pterygomaxillary notch. We need to put an upward and outward pressure in the canine area. Moving on to next, we are supposed to do the evaluation of both the dentures together. Now what all things we need to check in this? First of all, horizontal relationship, that is centric contacts. In this case, what are things we need to verify? There should be no space between the upper and lower posterior teeth at first contact. Then lower teeth, many of the times they slide over the upper teeth on the first contact. So this should not happen. So there should be no spacing, there should be no spacing, there should be no sliding, and there should be no midline shift. So these 3 points you need to check. Followed by vertical relation. What all things we need to check in vertical relationship is, first of all, the facial appearance. If there is excessive stretching of the facial muscles, this shows that the vertical dimension is increased. Again, we need to check with the help of speech. During speech, we need to check the freeway space. If the freeway space seems to be decreased, this means that vertical dimension is increased. Then nextly, evenness of occlusal contact. So whenever patient bites or closes the mouth, there should be even occlusal contact in all the teeth, posterior as well as anterior. So this we can check with the help of the mylar strips placement, and there should be no anterior open bite. If there is an anterior open bite, this shows that there is excessive contact of the posterior teeth, which is leading to the open bite into the patient. Next is balanced occlusion. We need to ask the patient to do various eccentric movements after checking of the centric movement. So in any of the movement, there should be no loss of contact of the teeth. As I have explained in the occlusion chapter, the balancing, how the balancing is checked in every type of eccentric movement, that is protrusive and lateral movements, there is no loss of contact of the denture teeth. There is always a minimum 3-point contact which should be maintained into the dentures. Next is aesthetics. In aesthetics, what all things we need to check is midline, anterior teeth, shape, size and color of the teeth, visibility and phonetics. Many of you guys have asked me about the phonetics too, so I have made a small table for phonetics for you guys. You can just have a quick recap of the same. uh, Mainly for our dental considerations, the type of sounds which is important for us are bilabial sounds. You can just see and you can pronounce them accordingly, you would understand. Just we can check it by pronouncing B, P and M. So in this case, both upper and lower lips come in contact, so those are called as bilabial sounds. So mainly it depends on the lip support of the denture. Now just imagine if you give a denture to the patient, and which leads to the overstretching of the lips. So in that case, if the lips are overstretched, so the upper lip would not able to touch the lower lip. So if the lips does not come in contact, so a bilabial sound would be difficult to produce. So lips cannot come together to pronounce the sound in case of inadequacy, incompetency or increased vertical dimension. So whenever we give a denture to the patient, we should always observe for the overstretching of the lips. If lips are overstretched, so bilabial sounds will not be able to pronounce. Next is labiodental sound, F and V. So whenever we pronounce this sound, our lower lip, it comes in contact with the incisal edge of the upper anteriors. So this is basically relationship of upper incisal edges with the lower lip. If teeth are set too high, then F will sound like V. You can just check it by doing it. Followed by linguodental sound is TH sound, like strength. So the end TH which is there, so in that case the position of the tongue is between the upper and lower anteriors. So normally the tongue, it protrudes 3 mm between the upper and lower anteriors. If the tongue gets positioned about 6 mm in front of the teeth have been set very lingually. Now whenever you sorry, whenever you pronounce this th sound, usually your tongue gets protrude between the upper and lower anterior teeth. So how much does it get protrude? Normally it gets protrude by 3 mm. Now just imagine if you give your patient a retroclined teeth arrangement, that is your lower anteriors are retroclined. So in that case, the protrusion of the tongue would be more than 3 mm. So if the protrusion of the tongue is more than 3 mm, the patient will not be able to pronounce linguodental sounds. So the position of the upper and lower anteriors should be such that the protrusion of the tongue should not be more than 3 mm. Then only this linguodental sounds would be harmonized. Next is linguopalatal sounds such as T, D, S, Z and L. So whenever you pronounce these sounds, your tongue, it touches your palate, like T, D. If you can do it right now, you can just check your tongue, it touches the palate. So basically now just imagine whenever you give denture which is very much thick over the palate area. Sorry. So just imagine whenever you give patient a denture which is more thicker in the palate area. So in that case, in thick denture, the patient is not able to pronounce this T and D sounds. Or if the patient pronounces, those sounds are not those sharp. Sounds become blunt and shallow. Why? Because uh, sound is shallow and blunt because the thickness of the denture in the palate area is more. So the space between the tongue and palate, it decreases because of the over thickness of the denture. So in this case, what we need to do is we should be able to maintain the thickness of the denture in the palate area. Next, S sound produced in two tongue position. Whenever we pronounce sound S, a narrow groove it is formed by the tongue in the midline against the palate, resulting in a space. The size of this space determines the quality of the sound. Clear? So factors if altered is same as the linguopalatal sound. If the denture is thicker in the palate area, the space which is produced at the time of pronunciation of S would be lesser. So in that case, the S sound would not be that clear. And lastly is velar sounds, that is K and G, which is produced with the help of the posterior part of the palate, but those are not much related to the denture. So hope this is a bit clear for you guys. Any doubts, just let me know. Thank you and all the very best.